Yeah, it just came through.
Yeah. So archers, you want to connect to advance? Well, stay tuned. We're going to find out how you can do that. We have a special guest on the line with us today, and we're going to tell you exactly how you can connect to events. Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm going to be hosting on Archery Talk 101, and we have Jeremy on the show with today, and he's going to give us some insight on something that's going to help out all of us new archers. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Oh, I appreciate it, Roy. Thanks, man. We finally
Hey,
got together.
yeah. This is every podcast is different and fun, and one of the things that I like to let my listeners know is besides just the Archery Talk 101 podcast, we also have Archery Talk 101 Facebook group, and join that group. You're not going to be sold anything to it, so it's all about content, providing information. So if you have a problem with your form, upload a video. We'll take a look at it. We have instructors who've been instructing for decades, and bow techs have been working on bows for decades, and anywhere from the brand new archer to the professional, semi-professional, and Olympic archers are in the group, and all kinds of levels. So make sure you get in that group. I'll leave a link in the description to the group, but it's just look for Archery Talk 101 on Facebook. So Jeremy, tell us a little something about yourself. Give us a little short introduction to you.
Oh, well, originally I'm from Nebraska. Currently live in Wisconsin. And when I found out about archery, I fell in love with archery and have done a lot of different facets in archery in my career, I guess you'd call it. And so just something about the sport. I think a lot of us connect with that. It doesn't matter what level you're at in archery, you're going to enjoy it, or should enjoy it anyway. So that's me kind of in a nutshell, I guess. Archery is what I love, and that's kind of what drives me for doing what I'm doing.
So what made you pick up the bow for the first time?
My best friend, actually, he's really big into the outdoor sports, and he kind of showed me it was another way to be able to enjoy some time outdoors or out in the field. And I got to go on a couple of hunts before I even really had a bow, I think. And man, I just really loved the challenge of what archery is to me, and it's got so many different facets. You don't just have to go out and hunt or just shoot foam or just shoot paper. You can do anything in archery, man. It's a great sport. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. The last podcast was most about bow fishing and fishing, and that was actually two podcasts. The last one was we talked to a trapper, and the stuff you learn as a trapper, pass it on. So if you want to learn something, every one of these podcasts, I learned something out of them, and that's what's so fun is that there's just so many different options, and
so many people have such a different take on something, or they learn a little tip or technique that they're willing to share. And that's kind of what I like about archery is I get to see a lot of those little different tips and techniques of what, and I've always heard archery being as the most individualistic sport out there. What you like to shoot or what you like to use is going to be something completely different to what I like to shoot or what I like to use. But there's those little tips and techniques that's just going to make me a better archer at the end, or a better fisher, or a better trapper. It's a pretty neat sport. So
yeah, and it doesn't matter what your physical ability is. You could be a great big weightlifter, or somebody that just little skinny thing, and or even kids. You can all shoot a bow. And there's a bow out there for anybody can shoot a bow. There are people out there with only one arm and out there with no arms, and they're shooting compounds.
Yeah.
And the first time I seen a one-arm archer, he was carrying a bow and had the quiver on it, had one arm. Then I noticed a little bite tab on there that they bite up and draw it back, and then some that they'll have a little mechanical release they can release. And I actually met the one-arm archer, Matt Stutzman.
Oh, okay.
And he is born with no arms, and he shoots a compound bow.
That's amazing.
Amazing. I'd seen a video of him shooting in the Olympics, and when I got the meeting, Nebraska has an outdoor expo every year up at Ponca State Park, and I went up there and volunteered to help out in, of course, the archery area.
Awesome.
And I met him up there, and I talked to him for a while. He pretty interesting guy to talk to, and when you don't have any arms and you still shoot a bow, so there's no reason why you can't.
Yeah, that's 100%. I got to participate in an event at HHA USA. The owner of HHA Sites, Chris Ham, super great dude. He hosts some events up here in Wisconsin, and I got to one of those events, and you network a lot at an archery shoot. I got to meet a gentleman
Right.
that shot with one arm, and so I got to participate, in the first round with him, and he had that bite tab, and it was pretty, it was inspiring, but pretty impressive too, that he loves this sport or loves this so much that he's not letting an arm or not having an arm stop him from enjoying the sport. It was impressive. It was really, really neat. So it's kind of eye-opening. Nothing stopped him from any of the shots. He tagged him out where we were tagging him and just had a great time with it. Super good dude.
Yeah.
Super good dude.
And we find that a lot in archery, that, majority of the people, there's going to be the few that are, the
Overly
BHs.
serious. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but most of them, I've talked to archers that, hey, they're struggling, and the guy they're shooting against, is archer is their level and higher, and they're helping them out in the competition where they're shooting against them, and they're helping them out get better.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
that's the thing that, a lot of archers will do. And then of course you'll have a few that, they're going to do everything you can to mess you up, but you don't find very many of those. And you can
No.
tell who those are because nobody's hanging around them when they're not
Yeah.
shooting.
Yeah. They stick really, really tight inside their own little circles. But most people, you can get thrown in a group of 4 people that you don't have any familiarity with. And by the time, you're 3 or 4 targets into it, you're jibber jabbering and networking and meeting people and sharing stories and laughing and having a good time. It's quite a sport. It really is quite a sport.
Yeah. And well, that's what it is. I like the podcast because, would we have ever met or talked in person, because you're a couple states away.
Yeah. Right.
And, now I know somebody, it's all over the world. And, when, with just all you need, the requirements to be on the podcast is internet connection and install the Zoom app, and we start talking archery.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And about 10 minutes of guidance.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you had to help me with. But we got there.
Yeah, well, we're doing something a little bit different on this one that we don't normally do. So, we'll get into that. Those that are listening, and we have some special stuff coming up. Those that are watching, you're actually going to see some amazing stuff here. We've got an app we're going to talk about, and as well as everything else. And it's going to be, a lot of fun. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But, right now I want to hear, more about Jeremy and what he's doing in archery and how it's going with him, and maybe even some of the stories.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when it comes back to the networking side of archery, to me, I don't know if I've ever been involved in anything, even with sports back in high school or, through my college years. I've met more genuine, honest people, straight shooters, in the sport of archery, I think, than I have in most walks of my life, and that's just kind of one of those deals that I think that really kind of draws me to archery. There's a lot of things, and archery's gotten me through a lot. Through HHA is one of those companies too. They help a lot with the military and law enforcement, and first responders, and they really reach out toward that military demographic, to help people, because they recognize what archery can do for folks who are having tough times in their life.
Right.
And that's something that really draws me toward it. Archery is one of those things that I have to overcome. My shot, I have to break it clean. There's a lot of times I want to rush the shot or I get antsy on the shot. But I've got to be able to focus and be able to execute that shot properly in order for it to be a good shot downrange. And that's just kind of one of those deals that I really, really enjoy about the sport. It's one of those most mind clearing type things for me. As frustrating as archery can be, it really is one of those sports that can really clear your mind too, and it's pretty therapeutic.
Yeah, well, when you're doing your shot, your only focus is on where you want the arrow to go, and it just forces you to concentrate so much on that, and basically tune out everything else.
Yeah.
There's, I know I've talked to people that, when they're shooting, the kids are down there, it's like, make all kinds of noise you want, do anything you want, because it helps them focus on it. And that way, if you get in a big event, last thing you want to do is, shooting it, in small ranges or by yourself and be completely quiet. And then all of a sudden you get into an event and there's all this noise background, and then now you can't concentrate. But if you're used to it, it's like, yeah, no big deal. That's quiet compared to my normal environment.
Yeah, right. I learned that. I've got a son. He's 21 years old now. He doesn't hang around me and talk as much as he used to, as far as when I'm shooting my bow. But if you can get past those distractions of your kid playing behind you with something like that, or those people talking, and you want to be involved in that conversation, then you've done something. If you can shut that out and be able to still execute a clean shot.
Yeah, it's just all a matter of, just, where your focus is. Archery is it's a big mental game.
Oh, huge mental game. And it's so weird. I run a small pro shop, and I get the pleasure of being able to expose a lot of people to the sport of archery, or I get to see them grow in the sport of archery, whether it's through just equipment or education in that sport. And a lot of it has to do with the psychology of the shot.
Right.
If you get a shooter and they don't have faith or trust or confidence in an arrow or a release or a sight or something, that overloads them for whatever reason, and they cannot execute cleanly because they're thinking about why they can't hit the X as opposed to just hitting the X. And it's just such a weird perception to me. I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but I get to see it more, from an external stance. That this whatever, and a release to me is a big thing. If the release isn't the right release, or if it isn't the right something, then the shot isn't going to be the best shot for them as possible. Which honestly, the release plays some, sure, but it isn't the overall execution of the shot. Consistency is your biggest thing.
Right.
It's interesting, the psychology of executing that proper shot.
Well, and on one of the podcasts we talked, one guy was telling the story about the guy was just as a joke, just kind of messing around and leaned way back to do his shot. And he was hitting. He was shooting really good. So now that's the way he shoots, just in a weird position, and he's nailing it. Just one of the things, just did it kind of, goof off, and like, oh man, that worked. And it's not, nobody ever teaches that form. Yeah.
No,
But
you don't see a lot of that.
It worked for him, and it started off as basically just a joke,
Wow.
goofing around, and for him it worked. For nobody else, it's probably going to work.
Did you watch the Vegas event this year at all? Chris Schaff won it, men's open.
I watched parts of them.
Okay, so he has kind of a leaning back stance to it too. Not the typical, vertical upright, chest out, shoot proud kind of execution, but he kind of has this lean back form to it. And obviously he won it, so he knows what he's doing, but to me, that's indicative to you can get good at whatever form or format that you adapt. It takes practice and repetitiveness. And then you have to try those things to make sure it's going to work, because you can't just say, hey, I'm going to shoot like this and just make it the best I can, because maybe it's actually hurting you more than helping you, but.
Right. Well, and then I've been coaching since 95, and, I have a process that I go through, and I teach a certain way. And then I also teach you why I'm teaching that, and I just I don't say, well, do this. This because this is why you want to do it that way. And now once I've done that, now then we look at, is this working for you? Try it. If not, then we're going to tweak it a little bit. There's a few things that I don't like to do too far off, because it just makes it a whole lot harder in the long run. But you have to adapt. And over the years I've taught hundreds of people how to shoot, and I teach a lot of beginners. Because, working at my own shop and in Bass Pro and Cabela's, you get mostly beginners in there, getting their first bow. So we're going to teach them. And when I had my store, my thought was, you buy a bow, I'm going to give you shooting instruction, because I want you to be able to shoot good.
Right. There's a lot to it. If they don't hit the X or enjoy it within a short period of time after getting their bow, or practicing or trying it for the first time ever, I think that we have a high potentiality of losing that person, from the sport of
Right.
archery, because it doesn't click. It doesn't give them those endorphins. It isn't as fun as their friends made it sound. So I'm a big advocate. And the first few sessions is, let's make it safe so we're not hitting the forearm, and that we have proper grip, so we're not going to lose the bow. We're not going to send an arrow into the net back 40. But then, it's about having fun after that. And once they fall in love with it, and once they really connect with the sport of archery, that they can do this, then after that, it's going to be they're willing to go through the struggles of enjoying the sport of archery, and the struggles of,
Right.
the right arrows, a different bow, a different this, a different that, trying this, different type of shooting, not just 3D, not just paper, not just hunting. So I think they have to fall in love with the sport first, I've known that for a long time. But I heard that I want to say his name is George Reyes. He's a big coach. He's got some really good YouTube videos out there. But he mentioned that on that YouTube video, that the youth have to fall in love with the sport first before, or if they hit any adverse or negative, or any resistance, they're not gonna want to continue on with the sport, because they don't love it, in that fashion. So I'm a big advocate, proponent of making it fun and making it something that they're going to want to come back tomorrow and try again.
Yeah, it's not all about, okay, here's your form. You got to do this. You got to practice. You're going to shoot the same targets every time.
Right.
And, it's like, okay, after a while, it gets boring shooting 5 spots, or the 3 spot, or single spot, or whatever
Yep.
you're doing. And there are so many different types of targets.
For real.
That you can play darts. It's a great
Yeah.
big, 2-foot square dartboard that you shoot
Yep.
at with your bow. There's tic-tac-toe ones, which is fun to play, because you get
Yeah.
5 arrows. You got to get
Yep.
3 in a row. And the
Yep.
nice one is like, okay, if somebody's got a spot you want, you can shoot that same spot and take it away if you get closer to the center. So now there's a lot of
Yep.
strategy, because you only got 5 shots. And that's a lot of fun. And there's cards. There was a big layout of a deck of cards, so you can play whatever card game you want. And you got your 5 arrows. There's your 5
Yep.
5 cards. Go pick what you want, and closest to center keeps the card. And
Yep.
then there's I'm drawing a blank. There's a couple more that I don't remember right now.
Absolutely. There's field shoots. I've never done a field shoot. I was actually hoping to actually do one this year. It just didn't work out for time. Field shoot is I don't. Have you ever done a field shoot, Roy?
Long time ago,
Yeah.
I did one. I think we shot 40, 50, and 60 yards.
Yeah. So
And
it's kind of a combination between paper and 3D is what I'm kind of learning. I think there's a misconception that only target archers, or only a certain level of archer can enjoy a field shoot. But what I'm learning, and I'll participate in some field shoots here before too long. What I'm learning is anybody with a bow hunting setup or anything like that can participate in a field shoot, because they have a bow hunter class or a bow hunter division. And
Right.
it's just kind of one of those deals that it's another aspect, or another venue to go out, and another reason to go out and shoot your bow.
Right.
That's what we absolutely love doing. And where else are you going to spend that little money to go out and spend time with your friends for 3 or 4 hours and have a good time?
Yeah, $10, $15, $20 to go out and
Right.
shoot. And if you go to a movie, you're going to spend that or more. And going to movies okay, but much more fun to go shoot an
Yeah.
event. And if you and I are going, I used to go with a friend of mine. He's dead now, but we'd go out, and who got to give it, who had to take it on the way home. We didn't care if we were last and next to last, or first or second, in the overall scheme of it. It's like we're just competing against each other. And it was just fun, and make him a little better and make me a little better. And and we were kind of really close, as far as skill at the time, that it didn't really matter, because some weeks I'd win, some weeks he'd win. And then you get taking your kids out, doing that. And I was taking my kids out. It was like, I think they had a 5-pound compound bow, just a real kid, because they're really small, and they couldn't stick it wouldn't stick in the foam. So
Yeah.
they shot it. If they hit foam, they got 5 points. They automatically got 5 points because you can't always tell where it hit. And like, so there was always there. And it's like, don't worry about where you're going to shoot. Get up where you can hit it.
Yes. Right.
Because we didn't care. If you have to get 5 feet away from it to hit it, get 5 feet away to hit it. He goes, that keeps them enthused. And
right.
Now you can go in there and now they're having fun. They're hitting it. And, because they don't have the real sharp points on some of those really kids' bows. And, once you start going up, you can put the little sharper ones on, because, when you get 5, 6 year olds, they're not quite as careful of those tips as they should be. But, I taught all my kids to shoot bows when they was really young, and, they had a lot of fun shooting. And
they get a kick going out there and doing what dad's doing, or uncle or friend or brothers are doing. They get a kick out of that, and it's different targets. If you shoot a 3D course, one might be a polar bear or a black bear or a deer or a frog, or there's just got a lot of different cool targets out there, Bigfoot.
oh yeah,
and the kids get a kick out of that, and they'll remember that, when they get older, and life is chasing them, or they're chasing life. I'm hoping it comes full circle for a lot of these young kids, that they're like, man, I remember doing that when I was a kid, and it was so much fun.
yeah.
And then then they have the ability to get back into the sport.
Yeah, when I first started going to 3Ds, there wasn't all these unique targets. You've got your bear and your pig and your boar, your pig, your bear, your deer, and a few other ones like that. And so they since added all the other little critters and animals and imaginary animals.
They got some cool stuff out there.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And, all kinds of stuff.
Have you ever participated in an R100 shoot at all?
No, I haven't.
So r100.org is the website, and they have them all over the place. It's like, I want to say there's might be 15 shoots this year. They're on the app. Well, we can talk about that a little bit too. Maybe I'll show a couple of them out there. But the R100, it's Reinhardt targets, but they have a life-size giraffe as one of their targets.
Oh yeah.
And there's a 6-foot step ladder to go get your arrow. And I mean, it is such a cool target. They've got elephants, and they got Black Death or a Cape Buffalo, dinosaurs, and just a bunch of really, really cool stuff. So the targets nowadays are way better than we were shooting. We were younger,
Yeah.
the same 3 or 4 deer and the boar and the pigs kind of a deal. But man, there is some really cool stuff out there nowadays.
Yeah, and speaking of R100 shoot, I actually brought it up. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And for those listening, we can't really see what's going on, but those that get to watch, if you want to watch it, make sure you join the Archery Talk 101 Facebook group or my YouTube channel. They'll be out there. But it's a pretty nice little site here, and all kinds of different stuff. There was one top events.
Yep.
We'll click on events, and then Homer, Georgia, March 17th and 19th.
Yeah.
Roanoke, Texas, end of March. Godfrey, Illinois. I don't know I don't know, WETUMPKA, Alabama. In April. Stanton, Virginia, in May. Sturbridge, Massachusetts, June 9th.
Yeah, they've got quite a few
Ohio.
events. Yep. So that Sparta, Iowa, Wisconsin one right there, that Sparta one, we're going to try to attend that one again. We've hit that one the past 3 years in a row. It's a really, really nice course, very, very family friendly oriented events. They're really, really good. So there's actually a picture of that giraffe.
Oh yeah, there it is for those. Yeah, for those that can't see the picture, the guys in stunning in front of it don't even come up to the belly of the giraffe.
Yeah. And let's just say it's an average size. Some of those guys probably 6 foot, and they're not at the belly yet. So
yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's a neat venue. They got, but again, back to the targets. They really have some cool targets at these events. and they do a really good job of the flow. So you're not standing there waiting for, for a long time, to get a shot off and then whatnot. So, plus they have a lot of specialty or novelty shoots too. So,
Yeah.
but that HHA USA mission right there, that's definitely one that I'd like to visit about at some point. HHA, I'm a big advocate of these events right here. HHA USA. What Chris Ham is doing, working with veterans and law enforcement, that's really where his passion is. Archery is a big passion of his, obviously, because he runs HHA sites.
Right.
But recently, the past few years, he's really come on with this HHA USA events. So really good stuff. Really cool shoots. They use different venues, local venues here in Wisconsin. My assumption is they're going to grow and continue to grow, because I see a lot of really good stuff in that arena, especially for our veterans. So we definitely have them on the app too. So which is awesome.
Yeah, we'll get in that here in a little bit. But I know you said that you had a pro shop.
Yeah.
Let us know what's going on with that and how we get a hold of you. And
yeah, so the pro shop I've had for 4 years. It was kind of one of those. I live in a small town, population 550 people. And the pro shop is one of those things where I absolutely love the sport of archery, and I love helping people. So why not combine both of them, and try to open up my own shop? Like I said, I've done a lot of different things in the industry of archery. And
do you have a website for your shop?
Yeah, so the shop is called Badger State Adventures. And what I was hoping to do at some point was to have multiple shops, and to be able to get more people involved in the outdoor sports, whether it was through just archery or kayaking or biking. But I opened the shop 4 years ago, and as we all know, the past 4 years have been nothing but a rodeo for every small business out there and everybody out there, honestly. So it has had its challenges, all the way through. And then the biggest part is time, with trying to run the app full time and try to do a pro shop full time. It's kind of a rodeo. So very small shop. We pulled the reins back quite a bit. I sell elite archery. They were happy to be on the shelves of a small archery shop. So I give them a lot of credit for that too. So
yeah, and if you have a website, want to share it, you can go ahead and share it if you want to.
Yeah,
Badger State plug on it.
Yeah, badgerstateadventures.com. That would be the easiest way to get there.
Yeah, if you have it ready, go ahead and share your screen, and we'll
I
take a look
don't
at your
actually.
website.
I'm not that fast with that stuff.
Oh.
And honestly, my fear is if I click anything out of my parameter, that I'm going to lose everything. Again, for a guy that created a website, I am not, or an app, I'm not that guy to be able to mess around too much on computers and stuff. So
so what did you say it was?
Badger State Adventures. Yep.
If I can bring it up here, if I can. There we go. Archery State Adventures. Let me go ahead and share my screen, because you have your screen. Your screen is set up to share something else a bit later.
Yes, correct.
So okay, there we go.
Yep.
Make sure it was the right one.
So that picture is actually me in Wyoming quite a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was getting ready. That bull had to come in another 20 yards, and he'd have been in trouble. But he just sat out there and circled looking for his cows. He was a good bull. I mean, I don't know if he'd quite go 320, but he was a pretty good bull. What a great time. I mean, I remember that hunt now, looking at that picture. My best friend took that picture from me and whatnot. So
we're just out of your range, huh?
Just out of my effective range. And I'm not that guy to be chucking carbon out there for no reason. So
yeah.
I'm an okay shot, but I'm not that guy. So he's probably out there getting bigger for somebody else.
Yeah. Well, let's go down here. You got equipment, archery, hunt, camping.
Yeah. So that picture, that center hunt, that picture there, that was actually with my best friend and his cousin, a good buddy of mine, Alex. And that was in a Montana bighorn sheep hunt.
Oh,
they drew a tag, and I just went to help spot and tried doing some videography work and just enjoyed hanging out with some guys out hunting. So that was just a really cool picture.
Yeah, it can be fun, if you're not the shooter, to get in there and help them out, to help them get theirs. And
it's something special about, if if you are successful, and there's, I mean, everybody who's ever hunted knows that if you're successful, it's just the highlight, icing on the cake type deal. But honestly, the adventure and being out there, that's what we go for, you know.
Being outdoors, and
Yeah.
it's got a little fishing gear in
Yeah.
there as well.
Yep. Yeah. That far left picture, the guy with the muskie, that's a buddy of mine that owns muskie operations up here in Wisconsin. He guides for muskies, and I got to go fishing with him a few times, and I've caught a couple on his expertise, and his passion for muskies is my passion for archery. He absolutely loves chasing that fish, man. It's awesome. It's awesome to talk with him. He puts off a pretty cool vibe. So that's my son there on an antelope hunt in Wyoming.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's his first time ever out there out west to hunt. And he was successful. He ended up shooting a nice goat, probably 70, 72, 73 inches, something like that, you know, and that was pretty exciting for me to take him out there out west and hunt with him. So it was just kind of a neat picture I took. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. I haven't actually been on this for a little while. I need to update some stuff on there looking at it, but man, when we're as busy as we are, it's time to hit all of the boxes to get everything check marked off, you know.
I know I've got a couple of websites that, you know, I do, but I don't have time to spend too much time on them, you know. I have archerytalk11.com, and, you know, we put the podcast out there. It's like, oh man, it's been a while. I was like,
yep.
I had like episode 40 something was out there, so I had to get all caught up. It's like, okay,
yes.
Post all these out here.
Yeah. So what you were going to do on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is now diverted to doing other things Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to get caught up. And then it feels like it puts you behind on everything else. And yep. I totally understand that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you know, it's kind of nice when you build up the website, and I do a lot of it myself, so that, you know, I do it the way I want, and then, you know, eventually I'll just say, okay, here, go out to Fiverr or someplace and say, here, this is what I have, this I want it to look like this, and then just go make the changes.
Yes, it's a lot more simplistic that way.
Yeah. And you know, they do a pretty good job. I had an image I had created. I was putting together an online coaching program, and I had a background, you know, the ad to sell the program, and I went out there and had them create it. It's like, hey, here's what I wanted, and they created the image for it. So, you know, that it's kind of nice when you can have other people do things for you. But
it always blows my mind when I'm talking with somebody who is creative, or, you know, like an icon or an image or a video or music. It always amazes me how talented people really are. You know, when I'm like, this is what I'm thinking, and then they develop it, and you're like, holy cats, it's better than I thought it would be. You know.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I know there's just so many things you can do, and sometimes you're better off to pay somebody else to do it than do it yourself. And you know, if you have more money than time, then you pay somebody to do it. If more time than money, then you're stuck doing more of it yourself. And
well, I've got to tell you, with creating an app, and I know nothing about coding, or website building or any of that stuff, but I love the idea of what I had, and the folks that I visited with on you know, you pitch the idea to see if there's any sort of validity to it, right?
Right.
And I hired a young guy that I knew to start coding, and he got it to a certain point. It wasn't very far into, you know, the overall what the app is, but I got to see some images, and I got to see some stuff, some functionality, and I was like, gosh, that's a pretty good idea. Still, I really like it. I think it's got a shot. I know it can help the archery industry, and before COVID, the archery industry needed a lot of help. You know, there were just not the numbers weren't there for people participating. You know, sales were down, you know, and it was, you know, in areas that I know of anyway. Of course, it's, you know, it's subjective everywhere you're at, but I got to see a little bit of what the app was, and he ended up getting so busy that he couldn't devote or dedicate time to the app. So we had a divestiture, We separated, and then I'm like, gosh, I really like this idea. And the more time I talk with friends, and they're like, yeah, just go for it. So the whole money over time thing, even if I had the time, I just, it's such a big build. There's so much to
Right.
an app. Um, and so I started trying to quantify a lot of these companies and try to find some place to work and help me out with the very limited budget that I have. Because when you tell your wife you want to spend X amount of dollars, and then she goes, well, how much do you think it's going to make? And I don't know. It's really hard to have her on board with that. You know what I mean? So um, we end up settling, but we end up working with a company out of Minnesota, and they transferred down to Florida and stuff. But they have a team, located all over the world, people that I get to talk with. But I talk to them, and archery is one of those sports, and an app is one of those sports where if you are not from an outdoor background or archery background or any of that, it's really hard to explain because there's no connectivity sometimes to what I'm trying to explain or what I'm trying
Right.
to bring across or paint that picture, kind of a deal. So there's some disconnects periodically, but honestly, with Zoom calls or with Skype or with technology nowadays, you could just jump right on a conversation right there and just talk about it, and then within a few weeks or so, you have that idea being built. So it's really awesome, in that arena. Technology blows my mind, man. It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's freaking awesome. I mean, look at what we're doing. I mean, we're jibber jabbering right now. You're in Nebraska and I'm in Wisconsin, and I mean, it's just like we're sitting next to each other, like we've done this before in the past. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter as long as you have internet connection. I've had people on the podcast from South Africa, Serbia,
That's amazing.
Belgium, and just all over the world. And
That's so
the
cool.
only requirement is either you speak English or we can translate to English.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
now with like the Google Translate, you know, we could even do one where they type it in and I translate it and I repeat it, and then I can translate it back into whatever their language is and post it and ask questions, and
That's
it'd
awesome.
be a little bit more of a little more of a challenge, but
Yeah,
hey, it's doable.
doable. Absolutely
Yeah,
doable. Yeah,
yeah. So if you can't speak English very well, we don't care.
yeah,
We'll find somebody that can,
yep, yep,
or
yeah.
we'll translate it.
Yeah, translating. It's pretty cool. It's neat.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
especially in the world of apps and stuff. We're starting to see some, or I'm starting to see, but maybe probably because I pay more attention to it now. But seeing more apps come out, for the archery industry. Archery is kind of one of those sports that it seems like, even though with all the cool technology and the bows, it seems like it takes a little bit of time for archery to kind of really get going with certain technology and stuff.
right.
I mean, I mean, honestly, we're looking at advertising our first like real major advertising push in a magazine. And then we'll start focusing into online, influencers and stuff. But we're gonna go first with pro shops and clubs, and that
Yeah,
magazine or hard print is still a viable source for marketing and archery.
right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Especially you get in those that are focused towards archers,
yeah,
you're going to be there, probably advertising in one that, focuses on other aspects of what's going on. Probably not the place to go, but,
right,
like in life or something like that, just when it popped in my head,
yeah,
probably not going to do very good in that one because how many archers are watching it or reading
correct,
it.
correct, right, like true at the end of the day demographic for archery. Yeah. Yeah, we're actually
Right.
looking at right now. It's inside archery is what we're looking at doing. And like I said, it's more geared toward pro shops and clubs and
Yeah.
just people we've been visiting with for a while now. So, but yeah, hard print advertising. That's what we're looking at doing. So
Well,
it's
and
crazy.
I think now's the time. It's like I think you have access to actually showing us the app on the podcast. So
All right.
I know we set up beforehand. So as long as it still works,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Okay,
have a
folks.
treat here.
Yeah, bear with
Um,
us. Okay.
yeah, Jerry's going to share his screen of his phone, the app
We're
that's
gonna try.
installed on it. I installed it on my phone and signed up. So um, he's just going to go over and we'll try and tell you what's going on so that those that are listening, you might have to download it. And so he's brought up his screen, and it's actually pretty good. It says Toxon at top, Archery connected.
Did it come
And
up?
then, yeah, it's up. I can see it. You're on profile and subscription. So go ahead and talk about your app and take us through it.
Okay, so well, I guess I'll start at the beginning. So Toxon was created to try to get guys like me and Roy and hopefully you guys that are listening, the ability to find and locate archery events more easily and consistently. I see on Facebook all the time, there are people asking, are there any events here or any events there? There are groups, but we all know that Facebook and other social media platforms don't do the archery industry any favors. You can have 1,000 likes and, they post something and only 2 or 3 people, will like it, and only a handful of people are seeing it. So I kind of lean toward creating a community or an environment that a club can post their events in, and more importantly, the end user can go and see and find all that information. So that's where Toxon kind of stemmed from or came from, was I want to know where my events are and I want to go there. So this is the homepage that we have on the app itself. It is free to download, guys, and it's also free for pro shops and clubs to be on. Like I said, I'm just trying to connect the dots between shooters and shoots or events. So we'll try to do the Reader's Digest version here. So profile, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to be what you set up. You can add stuff about, bows and arrows if you want to add that in there. My subscriptions is a relatively new feature that we just added. So when I click this, it's going to bring up all of these different clubs or pro shops. And we can scroll through here. So we're just going to go back to the top. I'm going to subscribe to that event. After I subscribe to that event, now if they have any sort of push notification or anything, I will get notified on that. Because I'm in Wisconsin, I don't need to know what's going on in Michigan or Ohio or something. So you can subscribe to any event or venue that you want. So also from the screen, view events, what they have coming up. Start time, stop time, all the information is right there for you. So we'll get into a couple other features here. And I don't want to go too crazy on my features by any means, guys. But I just want to really scratch the surface and let you just kind of see what I'm trying to do. Calculators. This is actually, front of center calculator, bow speed, kinetic energy, momentum, and let off calculator. Pretty simplistic. All that information is right there. It's free to download. So that information is right there for you. It's always nice to know where you're at with your bow. I feel that the more you know about it, the better of an archer you're going to be. So these 2 closest venues, no matter where you travel, no matter where you're at, as long as they're on the app, it will give you your 2 closest venues at all time, which is kind of a neat feature.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
We went to Wyoming and I watched that app, and as I was traveling, it just kept giving me updates on what my closest venues were. So I opened this up, and this is events or map, and everything is color coded. I should put a key on here. I'll write that down. But so it gives you your closest venues at all times, no matter where you're at. So if we scroll out a little bit, if it will let me, and it won't, so that's okay. We'll just go with it. So if you tap on those icons, each icon that you tap on, that information will come up. Okay. So let's go to, and you guys are actually, let's go to Nebraska. So we have that. Nebraska has a huge event. Is that in September, Roy? Do you know offhand? August. So that's the Nebraska Bow Hunters Banquet down there. And let's do this, guys. Let's filter. For some reason, it's not letting me zoom in and out. So filters is kind of cool. So we can filter. We don't want to see events. We don't want to see pro shops, archery parks. So let's leave it there. We do have to go. Oh, I can't get to the bottom of this booger. So at the very bottom, and I can't get there. It won't let me zoom up. There we go. Maybe a little bit there. Oh, I lost my screen. What did I do right?
Yeah, looks like your calendar says,
Yeah.
with the Archery Talk podcast here.
All right, so let's try. There we go. We're sorry, guys, that little technical difficulties.
Yeah, well,
So,
like I say, if you have more than two parts in electronics, you're bound to failure.
okay, so now we're just seeing, there it is. We're
There we
just
go.
seeing what I filtered out. So Nebraska Bowhunters Association, if I tap that again, they actually have I gotta zoom in. A little different than the app, a lot easier on the app.
Yeah.
So if we click that name, it comes up with a description of what the event is. This is really cool. We can get driving directions right to that event from the app. So if you know there's an event coming up, you don't know how to get there, if you click driving directions, it tells you exactly how to do that. So we can start and go from there. So the app is really, really user friendly in the terms of trying to get us, the end user, to that venue. I'm waiting for that to disappear.
It's kind of nice that it'll bring up Google Maps. So you don't have to just copy the address and paste it in Google Maps, and just takes you right there.
Correct. I got all sorts of stuff popping up. And then you can subscribe from there. Also, a link to the website. So if there's any information on the website that you guys want to get into, it's a link right there from the app. So provides contact information, events coming up. So there's a lot of features to it that's really going to help the end user out as far as being able to find an event. So Chippewa Bow Hunters, all of their information here. I don't know if they have any events left this year, but let's check. Okay, here we go. So they do have two events, see all 2 dates. Start time, stop time, which is important because you don't know if you missed it or not. So that's good information right there.
Yeah.
So we'll go back to the home page here, or try to. Those events. Oh, go ahead.
Now with this, is this just events in the United States, or do you have Canada and other countries? Or?
Yeah. So currently it is just the United States. So if I go back to the map, it'll kind of give you an idea of what we have going on. So I was talking with folks from Canada and trying to get some of their venues on, but at the time, Canada was actually getting shut down when I was jibber jabbering with them, and they weren't sure if they were going to be able to even get together to shoot their bows, which sucks.
Yeah.
So I have not revisited any of those. I don't know where Canada sits right now as far as restrictions. So I didn't want to push my luck there, to visit with those. So you can see we're East Coast, West Coast right now, down in Texas. So the color code, I'll just break this down. All of these orange with the little blue or the little orange shooters, guys, stick guys, those are all clubs. That is a club. That's a place to go and shoot your bow. The blue is an event. It's different from a club because it's typically a larger event. These specifically are MAF events, or Mountain Archery Fest. A lot like a TAC event or a Western Hunt Fest. Really, really cool big events. The red shopping cart is a pro shop. So if you're traveling, and these are the only pro shops that I have signed up so far in the app. If you're traveling, let's say you're going to Michigan bear hunting or something like that. We'll zoom out a little bit, get back into this. And you're going to be up in this area, and let's say you have a bow issue, you need a bow tech, something bad happened. You can actually get into this, tap that icon, so you're closest to St. Croix Outdoors, pro shop with indoor and outdoor ranges, start time, stop time, link to the website. You can find all the information there. It's just super fast to be able to find it. So that's kind of what I'm really trying to get done with Toxon, is connect archery to archers. Purple, the little tree, that's actually a archery park. It's a free place to go and shoot your bow. This one actually is, I believe, in Menominee or Rice Lake, Wisconsin, right? You can get driving directions right there to it. A little bit of information if there's a check-in or a sign-in, whatever that information there is for the end user. So just a lot of really neat ways to connect archery to archers. So
yeah,
we'll get back into the homepage. I don't think there's much more that I can go too in depth on. Other than people just getting in and asking questions and checking it out. Messages, that's where you're going to get, those push notifications from the club. My calendar, so this is kind of cool. We followed HHA a little bit ago. We subscribed to them. When we log into my calendar, and this is a brand new update, so it will get better as I grow the app, but you can see the highlights. Those are an event. There's something going on there. So we can click on that and it brings up what event that is. It's an HHA USA event, mission 26. It looks like I need to add my mileage and stuff to this, but so that's kind of a neat feature there, as far as you can subscribe, and then every week, every month, you can go in and go, okay, there's an event on the 18th, man. Let's go shoot our bows, Roy. HHA 27 has an event. You don't have to try to find it on Facebook or try to find it someplace else. It's all going to be right there on the app. Once we get the app growing and get more folks involved, once they realize the simplicity and the easiness of it. So my calendar, my community, that will actually be replaced with a new feature we have coming. I'm not going to bring that feature up just yet because it's still very early in its progress. So, and of course we have some stuff for advertising here. This is Black Eagle Arrows. I'm a big fan of them. All advertising is done by me because I don't want, like when I'm on an app sometimes and everything's are flashing in my face, or they just irritate me. Also, I don't want stuff like, I don't want pantyhose advertisements on my archery app. So, like from
Right.
everybody else. So, that kind of a deal. But if there's something across there that you're interested in, you can tap that. It takes you right to the website. So, just a lot of really, really cool ways to connect archery. So, but at its core, we're really just trying to let people know where there's a place to shoot. Because most of the time when I'm talking with folks, it's, oh, I forgot they had a shoot last weekend, or I didn't get there, or something, or I didn't know about it was the biggest one when I'd visit with people. So let's figure out a way to let people know about it. We can share the screens. We can share it to Facebook. We can share it to text or Facebook Messenger. There's just a lot of ways to be able to connect. So it's a simplistic app that I think is going to really, once it grows and clubs and pro shops see the benefits of what this thing will do for them, I think it's going to be an easier way to connect the dots between shooters and shoots. So,
Yeah, it looks like it's got a lot of information in it now, and I can just see it growing to be, the app to have if you're trying to find anything. And
well, I'm hoping the information is always there. So there's a lot of times that I'll be like, man, I saw something come across Facebook a while ago. It was a shoot I wanted to go to with a buddy of mine. Couldn't remember the name of the venue or much about it, but I knew it was in a certain area. Then you have that ability to even go in and filter, a lot of filter by dates, distance. I mean, so you can really knock it out to where you can find your next event. If you're not a 3D shooter and you just want to shoot paper, Vegas or 3D, I'm sorry, paper or Vegas or 5-spot, then you can filter all that out. And if that's posted, how they set it up, it filters everything out. Now you know where all of your paper shoots are. Same thing with 3D, If you just want to shoot 3D, you can toggle that and go there. Again, it's just simplistic. I want to reset because of all that information. But we have quite a bit. So I get this question often, Roy, about why don't I just add all these events or all these clubs or all this stuff out there? And the biggest reason I don't just add a bunch of clubs is the club has the most information the fastest. So if I post an event on here that I see on Facebook, or it comes across my desk, somebody sends me, and they have a cancellation for whatever reason, due to weather or something, I don't have that information.
right.
People from the club or club members or somebody associated or affiliated with that venue or event will have that information. And they're going to be able to update that app a lot faster than me. And the last thing I would want to do is have somebody come in that there's no event there, because I want the information to be there. And then the other thing is I try my hardest to validate each venue as an actual venue. The last thing I want is someone creating a come shoot in my, in my backyard type deal. That's not a valid venue. For it, I just don't want any weird things happening, so I try to validate at least it's at least a club or a pro shop, some sort of venue. So there's that bow hunter jamboree. Actually, that's what you guys have for Nebraska out there.
Yeah.
August 3rd through the 6th. You can add it to your phone's calendar and set up reminders and stuff that way. Again, click get directions, share it. Just a really neat features to be able to get people involved in the sport of archery.
Yeah, I can see this is going to be invaluable for somebody that wants to find an event. You're going somewhere and I'm going to a different state or something. It was like, okay, where's some shoots? I'm going to take my bow. I want to do some shooting. Where can I go? And
right. And we set everything up. When we set everything up, we require the latitude and longitude, because if you've ever tried typing in an address sometimes in a Google Maps and and it sends you not the right direction.
Yeah.
So everything that we try to do is very, very specific and very to the point. All the information, and as long as the club or pro shop or the event puts that information in here, you're going to find it. Start time, stop times. You can only shoot Saturday. You can figure out Saturday. Well, that's the 23rd. Oh, okay. It opens up at 7, so we can get there at 7 and shoot, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Well, and I can see too, if you start adding them in yourself, that can be a massive task to do that when one person can add it, and now you don't have to do all the work, and you provide the platform, and they're advertising their event.
Right. And it's again, it's free. It's free for a pro shop or free for a club to put on, to be on this platform. We want your clubs, we want your pro shops, we want your events, all on here. Just because I want people to find places to go shoot their bows.
Right.
And I'm just playing now. So if you zoom in, and every time you tap it, so if they had multiple events, White River Bowman, if they had 4 or 5 events, they do. Every time you tap it, it'll cycle through all of their events. So outdoor 3D shoot, okay, we want to check that out. So we're just going to tap up here, and it brings up that information about the shoot.
And that would need to give prices for members and non-members.
Yep. Again, it always takes you back to your original location, because it's based off of your GPS, and you can have that turned off if you want to have it turned off. I'm not in this to get your information. I'm not in this to buy a yacht. I'm in this to connect the sport of archery, and if this thing pays me back and we break even, we won. So that's honestly how I feel about it. And so right now, the only way that I monetize this, and that's a question that I get quite a bit, is through advertising. So we're hoping to be able to grow the platform and let the advertisers help grow the platform, as far as features and whatnot, for everybody. And if you guys have suggestions out there, I'm inside the box so far. It's hard for me to get away from it sometimes. If you guys go, man, I think this feature or that idea is so much better, let us know. I mean, I'm trying to build this for everybody in the archery community, and it's very, very, very narrow focused in a lot of times. But if you have advice, or if you guys know of an event or something out there, send me their contact information. Send them my contact information. Let's connect the dots. So let's just grow an archery app that is just designed to let people know where events are.
Yeah, and the ads you have, are intrusive. I remember back, many years ago, that you had so many pop-ups. You get this pop-up. You might have 20 screens popped up, and I got to try and close all those. And you close those, more pop up, and or you go to a lot of these sites, and they're constantly popping stuff up. You're scrolling down. Now that pops up this advertisement, and you scroll down further, this one pops up, and yours is just, if you want to look at that, you click on it. You have to click on it to go to that site.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. I didn't want to boggle anything down with, with pop-ups or with advertising or with flashing or with any sort of other distractions on there. I'm not out selling this to, 500 different people all trying to get their little spots on my screen. That's already
Right.
small enough. Right now we just have advertising on the homepage. That may change someday because it does have to at least break even. But that's what we're looking at doing. It is I try to make it very simplistic, very easy. I'm over 40. I'm actually looking at 45 this year. So I wanted that's right. I want the information to be legible and usable, so there's, you can click on the calendar, click on get driving directions, and the app just kind of does the work for you. I've used this feature, driving directions, so many times to get me where I need to go, as opposed to trying to type a name in, type an address in, and do it that way. It's just so much easier for me to use this app.
Yeah, and until you could have a button that's just, a link to, your sponsors. And then there you could have a whole list of these people that's supporting, and then with the affiliate links, you click on it, and then you make a little money, and they get, deals, and
Yeah.
you know it's I kind of run the archery group the same way. It's like, we don't advertise in the group, but the group will get this information. They want information, they could say, hey, I want to know more. So, but I can see this as maybe a link we might put in there, because it's got such information for archers to go get stuff. And
Well, and when you're a club, let's say you're in Nebraska, and there's, it's pretty sparse out there, as some of you guys know. If your
yeah,
club is having an event, and let's say you're out here in this region, the Shattering Alliance, Scottsbluff area. If you're out there in this region, put a pin drop of where your club is. You'll be surprised where people will travel to actually go shoot their bows.
oh yeah,
If you're putting an event together and something's going on out there, don't leave it to just the paperwork that you hung up down at the grocery store or at the local archery shop for the same 15, 20 people to see. Get some other shooters, grow your club. The only way they're going to find that is by outlets like this, or other areas that you're going to be able to do some different marketing in. Don't rely on what worked for you in the past, because things change, and
oh yeah,
change drastically and quickly.
yeah. Pretty
So
much every week something has changed.
correct. Yeah, this is a new one. We just signed these guys up, Western Hunt Fest. Learning a little bit about some of these events. It sounds like a very, very cool event. Out calling competition, pack out competition, a lot of seminars. Like it's a major event. They
Oh,
really do some cool stuff. So just some of the stuff that I get to visit with some of these folks, and of course talking with the guy that runs this. He's super good dude too. They have a passion for archery. That's why they're putting on a major event. It's not,
right.
they honestly, I don't know if a lot of them look at this and go, man, this is going to make me this much money. They go, yeah, this area would be awesome for a 3D course or an event, and they put a lot of time, effort, work into it. Yeah, it is about making money, because it's a business just the same as anything else. But
Right.
at the same time, they have a passion for the sport of archery too. And I can say that for everybody that I've talked with on this app, you really get a good vibe from them about what they're trying to do. Everything from Mountain Archery Fest to Beast Mode Archery, the Nebraska Bow Hunters Association. They put on a huge event, multiple day event.
Right.
It doesn't cost much to go shoot your bow for multiple days. They've got camping available, and oh man, there's just a lot to it, and I think that more people can learn about where these events are. They're going to get out there and get it to these events. So
Yeah, no,
pretty
there's a
pretty
lot of
cool stuff.
places that, I think, would be good for them to get on here, get some more people going in there and just get them advertised. And so I
Yeah,
know there's nothing around the Omaha area. So I know the Golden Arrow Archer Club is not signed up. So that might be something we want to get signed up. And
yeah. Yeah, and it's not, and again, it's not that we're asking any sort of monetary, number right now. It really is about, if somebody in Lincoln can not know about that club or pro shop, and they're going,
Right.
crap, there's
Well,
something there.
Prairie Bowman is in Lincoln. So there's
Okay.
two clubs right here that are in that area that, we need to see if we can get in there too. So
Right.
I know when the events are, and right now I depend on a couple of guys in the club to post them out to the group. But hey, this is
Right.
something I think
Well,
a lot of us can use because
and
we all have smartphones.
yeah, I've got no problem. If a club or someone calls me up or messages me, or I do a lot of Facebook messaging where they just send me the information. At first, I have no problem really. It takes 10 minutes to set up. I don't want to
Right.
make it hard for anything. I'll be honest with you. The hardest part about signing your club or pro shop up really is getting your latitude and longitude. But it's not that difficult. You
Yeah.
can do that with Google Maps, click and paste. I can do it, and if I can do it, I bet most of you can honestly do it faster. So
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing, is your latitude and longitude. And the reason we do that is because we want it to be to the doorstep or the driveway that your venue is at. I don't want to rely on an address, because we've found a lot of addresses are not accurate.
Right.
No.
Yeah, they're not always accurate. And the worst part is okay, this is a valid address, this is my address, but yet it don't show up. It's like, okay,
Correct.
where's it taking me?
Right. Well, and then you lose out on the potentiality of someone coming to your event. If they can't find you, if they've never been there. Let's say those clubs in Lincoln and Omaha, and somebody is traveling through. Periodically I go through there. I got family in Lincoln, friends in Omaha, and if I'm just coming through on a hunt and I want to stop in, I'm like, man, I need to get this checked out on my bow. How would I ever know there's anything in there?
Well, and to get to Prairie Bowman art range, you go on a road between two houses. You go down a residential area, you turn on this road between these two houses and go down there where the range is.
Wow.
So you would not know that I got to turn between this house and this house.
Right. Yeah, I would not know that.
Yeah. And Golden Arrow, where their range is not where their indoor range is. The outdoor range is at Cunningham Lake, and they maintain it, and they have shoots out there. But where their indoor is a completely different location. So if you look up Golden Arrow, you're going to go there, but maybe the range, they're at the outdoor range for an outdoor event. And you go to where the indoor one is, and it looks like it's a bunch of Quonset huts.
Yeah.
As part of an old military base. And, so if you don't have the right address, you can't just say, okay, I want to go to Golden Arrow, and it pops it up and you find the right Golden Arrow, because there's lots of Golden Arrows.
Correct.
And then it's like, well, wait a minute, this says it's 500 miles away. No, Omaha is only 50. Why is it taking me? Yeah, and this way it pops up, now you know exactly where it's at, and they can send you directly where it's at.
Right. Well, you can click on that driving directions. So if Minnehaha Archers is what you're looking for, or one of those venues, Golden Arrow, that you were talking about, and you find, and it has a pin drop right there. Oh, yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Okay, click. Here we go. Let's drive there. So I mean, it's right there. I mean, it's only 5 hours from me, but you're right. There's a ton of Golden Archers out there, and if you have the wrong one, or if you type the wrong one in, or if you're not 100% sure, that could create for a long morning or a long afternoon for you.
Yeah, when it's taking you north, you're supposed to go south, and then you drive 50 miles north, and it's like, no, it's 50 miles. Now you got 200 miles to just go 50.
Yep. But that's what it is. That's kind of the app in a nutshell. And like I said, there's other things that there's other features and benefits and stuff that we can dive into deeper if you wanted to. I really like the calendar feature. If you follow 4, 5, 6 clubs and you're looking at what's going on this coming up weekend, I don't even know what this weekend is, June 19th. So there's nothing that I have on mine, but I've only followed that one club for now.
Right.
So the
So
next,
as you have
next
more
time.
clubs,
Yep.
pick the clubs in the area that you would drive to.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
like for me here, it'd probably, Golden Arrow and Prairie Bowman, because they're, well, for me, they're the same distance pretty much to either one.
Sure.
So it's because I'm in between both of them. And there's other events too. There's smaller clubs,
Yes, right.
around some of the other towns, Blair has a club, and there's several clubs, and
Yep.
they get in, it's like, okay, when are they having a shoot? Maybe I'd like to go up there, and I don't know when they're doing anything, or even open shoots or something. What is their schedule for non-members to go in? And
Right. So when you look at that process, you know that these, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 clubs that you're looking at, it looks like we have connect issues. You have these clubs, they're familiar to you. Trying to connect. I don't know what you're seeing on your screen, but I have a disconnect.
yeah, I'm seeing what you're seeing, trying to connect.
So I'll stop share here, just so that's not up. But I mean, so that really is the standard operating procedure in a way, is your 4 or 5 clubs that you're going to frequent, but you don't know 100% know when their events are. A lot of clubs that I've noticed, they fail quite a bit at marketing, their venues or their events.
Right.
They do a couple posts, and those posts are not, they're not pushed, they're not sent out to all of the members or all the people that follow them. They're really not. I don't care what anybody says. And in fact, my theory is, and it's been validated a couple times, there are certain hot words that if you use, it gets suppressed. My honest feelings, if we use words like, hey, come out to our archery shoot, that verbiage is suppressed. It's not given to all of the end users.
Yeah, because you have the word shoot.
Correct. So we have now cut our already not, we'll just use, for the sake of our terminology or conversation here, 100 people. If you post it out there, if you have 100 people following you, you're not getting out to 100 people. That information is not getting there because it's suppressed, because they zip over the top of it. They're not looking for it at that time. So really, you have such a low probability, and I'm not even sure it's 20% success rate of getting that information in front of the end user at that right time for them to participate in your event.
Right.
So let's create an environment that allows them to find, when they're thinking about it, hey, right now, Roy, what are you doing this weekend? Let's go shoot our bows. Where can we go shoot? Well, I thought Nebraska bow hunters had something going on. Now we can look without having to try to go to their website, without having to try to go to their Facebook and trying to find the information that might not be there. If they can set all of their events up, most clubs have 2 to 5 events a year. 5 is quite a bit for a club, but we'll say 2 to 5 events. They can set it up in January when they have their dates set for throughout the year.
Right.
Now the whole year is done. They don't have to come back to the app unless there's an update. But the end user at all times have the higher potentiality or probability of finding that information now, because it's only a handful of clicks away for them to be able to find that event at that club at that time.
Well, like, if I want to go shoot, one of the clubs around here, I go find, what's their website, and then go say, well, what do the events have? Or maybe it's just a phone number, call them. Okay, what do you have? Well, nobody answered because
That's right.
It's not a full-time business. It's a club. So
Correct.
You may not answer. And okay, when is this going on? But if I can bring the app and say, oh, okay, they're going this weekend. And then now I can plan to go. And it just seems like it's going to, really help out. And it's kind of nice that, everything is free. You're getting paid from affiliate links.
Yep.
When you send business, and there's a lot of places that do affiliate links. I've been doing, I started looking into that, doing that, a couple years ago, and I was doing that for a while, and now I kind of more focused to the Archery podcast and creating YouTube channels, and then my other one is underwriting multifamily deals. But I kind of got away from doing the affiliate marketing because it takes a lot of my time, and this doing podcasts are way more fun.
It's weird, like you and I we've talked a little bit in Facebook Messenger, but we've never really visited with each other ever before.
Right.
But through the podcast and through the passion of archery, we can connect at a different level and be able just to talk like we've known each other for a few years now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's nice to be able to do that, and it's nice that you don't have everything real small on the app because you said you have what 45-year-old eyes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
glasses are new for me. I just this is my first year wearing them. I struggle with them. I don't take them with me when I need to go out to eat with my wife and try to read a menu. I'm telling you, they're a whole new thing for me. I honestly started wearing them when I was teching bows. I would notice that tying knots, or if I were cutting a knot off a string, to replace a peep sight or anything, that's an area I really want to see when I have a sharp object next to a tightly wound string. So I just had my wife just grab me a couple, to try them, and I'll be danged if I put a pair on and I'm like, oh, well, that's not good. So it just, you just start, it's just getting older, man. That's just the way it is. So
Yeah. Well, and having 68-year-old eyes, it's a little bit more. And I have my regular glasses that I wear that are bifocals, and then I have these I wear when on computer because these are set for here. And then at the bottom, there's the reading part. My new
oh
ones aren't going to have the reading part, but otherwise I'd be like this to try and see the screen.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
because I'd look
fantastic.
to the bottom of it and then try and read. Oh, forget it. So I have these are just for the computer. I can see okay
Yep.
without them, but
Yeah,
it's just a
right.
little bit easier on my eyes to have the glasses
That's
on.
that's exactly right. I can see well enough to not cut a bowstring if I have to, but boy, it's just a little bit more reassuring, with the glasses on. So
Yeah, yeah. It's I had there for when I had my store, I had contacts and I had to have separate reading glasses because I could not see anything up close because when they set it for like 2015 vision, so I could see road signs before I get to them. Then I can't see anything. You can't take contacts out real easy. You got to
no,
put your fingers in your eyes, and yeah, I'm not doing that throughout the day.
yeah, yeah. I would have a hard time, I think, with contacts. I think I have this thing. I don't like things in my face, and I would have a hard time, I think, with that.
Yeah, and
We're
I
not there yet.
originally got them for a different reason. I was doing martial arts, and when you're doing that, because we do grappling and stuff, I'm almost taking my glasses off and throw them in the corner. Because last you want to do is get
Yep,
them all crunched up, and
yep, sure,
so I went through the struggle of getting used to wearing them just so that I could go to my class and not have to worry about glasses. And
right.
then I started wearing them more, and of course now I don't wear them at all. But
It it didn't take
glasses,
it didn't take me long to learn this little feature here. I'll show you the whole loop, have it around your neck, because you
oh
set
yeah,
these you set the glasses down, and I don't remember where I put them down at. Never. So I spend just as much time looking for my glasses as I do looking for my phone. And of course, with glasses, you need to be able to see a little bit better because you're looking for your glasses. And so I got one of those little hanging down things. So so I'm committed now. I think we're it's just
or worse yet, here's your glasses.
yeah. Yeah. I
It's like,
haven't
where's
had
my
that one
glasses? Where
yet.
are my glasses?
I haven't had that one yet, but we're not far from it, man.
Yeah, I've stepped on mine. Took them off some out because my regular glasses I can't see up close, so I'm working on something. I'll take them off, or you're sweating and dripping on them, and so I take them off and set them down somewhere. And next one I was like, I just stepped on my glasses. You got to
Yeah,
straighten them back up, and
that
so I
sucks.
try to put them somewhere where I'm not going to do that. But
Like
yeah,
not on the floor.
yeah, yeah.
The
You have
other,
them in your lap, and
yep,
you're
yep.
looking on the phone, have them on your lap, and you stand up, and they fall down, and you didn't hear them, and like crunch.
Yep, that's not what you want to hear. The other weird thing is fog and humidity and stuff up here in Wisconsin. I didn't realize how bad it is, like walking in and out sometimes, and your glasses are just like, no, this
Oh,
is this is my life now,
well,
So
you grew up in Nebraska. We have that same problem here.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, like in Wisconsin, it gets cold in Nebraska. It really does. Wisconsin just seems angry all winter long. Like it's so much cold and so much snow, and my wife really struggles. She wears glasses, and like it's all the time. Her glasses are just fogged up from going in and out and whatnot, and so I'm not 100% there yet as far as wearing them all the time, but we're not far from it. So
Well,
I
worse yet is when they frost over.
I
Not
haven't
just
had
fog
that.
when they frost over. That
I'm
don't
not. I'm
happen
not.
too often, but because then you can't clean them because they're frosted over.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not ready for any of that stuff.
Fortunately, I can see good enough with it. I can take them off and look over them or something.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, what do you have for parting thoughts that you would like to tell new archers, old archers, young archers, experienced?
Well, experienced archers, I don't have a lot in that arena. I think a lot of experienced archers have gone through, especially guys our age. We've really gone through all of the technology. We have gone through all of the frustration and hassles. New archers, one thing that I really let them know is there's a gazillion videos out there on YouTube on how to become a better archer. I think there's really only a handful of people out there that really truly care to put a video together to really get you to be a better archer. Take everything with a grain of salt of those videos that you're watching. Try it, apply it. If it doesn't work for you, get rid of it. Don't force it, because I'd hate for you to develop a bad habit based on something that somebody on the internet said need to have. That kind of a deal. Don't shoot a certain site because somebody does it. Shoot what's best for you. That's probably the biggest thing, is there's a ton of videos and a lot of them are really good stuff, but some of them are just trash. But pay attention to the archery industry. There's a lot of folks out there that genuinely care. I haven't had the ability to watch any of your videos and stuff just yet. But I know that you've got some really good content just scrolling through your YouTube channel. You got a lot of really good stuff out there, watch those videos is what I would say to a lot of those younger shooters, and just enjoy the sport. The only way you're going to enjoy it is by learning and growing in the sport, and do that. But experienced archers, man, you guys are way better than I've ever. Kids nowadays, honestly, better technology, better resources, better information, better videos, better everything. So you should be better than me, better than I've ever been at archery. I
Right.
mean, and I'm not talking just natural or native ability. I'm talking like legit information in this sport, and you guys have everything at your disposal. Use it. So enjoy the sport, man. It's the best sport in the world, my honest opinion. I'm a
Right.
little biased, but man, what a great sport. What a great sport.
Well, you can trace archery back thousands of years,
Yeah.
64,000 actually.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's really cool. It's the technology now in bows. Every year I'm like, well, what can they do better? What can they do better? What can they do better? And then they come out with something. I'm like, yeah, that's a lot better. That's pretty sweet. So that really excites me, man. I struggled, Roy, growing up in the sport of archery. I didn't have anything at my disposal as far as helping out, man. Baptism by fire. If you wanted to be an ethical hunter, if you wanted to, I mean, you just had to learn everything on your own accord.
Right.
There was no resources. I mean, you'd go to a magazine article and see what they had to say about a technique or a tip or something, that kind of a deal. But
Yeah, and I started out even earlier than you did. I started out
sure,
in the 60s
sure,
when your option was recurve or longbow,
right,
wood or fiberglass. Your
yeah,
arrows are wood or wood.
yeah, wood
Which
or
type of
wood,
wood arrows do you
yeah,
want?
yeah,
And it
right,
wasn't until the 70s when compounds come out.
yeah,
And look what we've done now from those old bows from the
right.
70s to now.
Right. Just a handful of years, really, in the scheme of things, that the technology in archery is fairly young,
Right.
So it's pretty cool that where it's at right now. And hopefully that we as archers preserve it well enough, to have the ability to do this in the future, and that's something I do think we need to be cognizant of. Some of the rules, regulations, and restrictions that they're coming on against hunters and whatnot, and understand that we're all on the same team and we all want the same stuff, and that's the ability to go shoot our bows. So
Well, and one nice thing about archery, when you learn archery, okay, let's say, crap hits the fan and you have to go get food for you and your family, and you want to take a firearm out and let everybody know where you're at, or
right,
take a bow out and nobody knows where you're at.
right,
And nice, firearm, you have only X amount of ammo. Once that's
right,
gone, you have a club.
right,
Nice thing about archery is you can recover your arrow, resharpen your broadhead, unless you break it, or where's yet, you learn how to make stone broadheads.
Right.
I've watched a few of those, and those can be really sharp.
Yeah.
Those can be really sharp. And how do you make a bow? Take a stick and a string and fling another stick. And
yeah, fling another stick.
yeah, that's
Really,
what I call
it is.
archery.
Yeah.
And I posted that one time, archery is a stick with a string flinging another stick. Prove me wrong. Nobody
No.
said anything.
No, at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's where it started, and it quite possibly could be the way it ends. If
Yeah.
I probably won't be around that long by any means, but
No.
so I had a brother. He got me a self bow made for me out of Osage orange out of Oklahoma, and Osage orange is a type of wood, and I'm a vertical compound guy through and through. I'm very process oriented, very very methodical in my shot process. And he got me this self bow as a gift, and it's so beyond anything in my brain to comprehend. No sights, no execution, no. It was just so new for me to shoot, and man, I really enjoyed shooting it. I actually went to a couple 3D events with that self bow. Didn't lose any arrows, so I call that a win.
Yeah.
Didn't hit a lot of targets, so that was kind of a loss, but I really enjoyed that style of shooting, that simplistic shooting a stick kind of a deal. So if you're ever have a chance to try it, it's fun. All aspects of archery to me are just a kick in the pants. They're a good time. So
And some people start off with the recurves, go to the compounds, go back to recurves.
yeah, absolutely.
It's just how you started, and what you're looking for. And that's one of the first things I ask, somebody looking to get their first bow. It's like, what do you want to do with it? What do you want to just shoot for fun? Do you want to, you start getting into competitions? You want to just go, what do you want to do? Do you want to hunt with it? Because that helps me decide, what type of bow. If they
Sure.
want to choose for fun, you know what? Recurve is easiest way to go.
Right.
Now, sometimes they're not any cheaper than compounds. I've seen some of the recurves, you get a compound for $500-600, recurves that's $500-600.
Yeah.
So it's cheaper, but hey, there's really not much to go wrong.
Right. Ease of use and getting into it, it's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
So
And you can start off however you want to do it. And the next question is, let's see if you're right, left eye dominant. So I know whether to put you in a right or left-handed bow. And it's real difficult if you're right-handed but left eye dominant to try and shoot right-handed.
I was just going to bring that up. If you're lucky, you're left eye dominant and right hand dominant. Those are the fun ones.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. It's like he could hit nothing, and I noticed one day he's using his left eye to shoot. It's like, oh, we need to get you left-hand bow. So got a left-hand bow. You know what? Shooting great after that.
Worked out.
Before then, he was struggling.
Yep.
And you can easily be, if you're using your non-dominant eye, be off at 20 yards by 3-4 feet.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing.
I had that because I see two sets of pins, and my left eye is always dimmer than my right eye. My right eye is the clear eye, and over the years, your mind, I just ignore. I don't even notice the other pins. Well, I drew back on this deer, put that pin right where it's supposed to go, and it's like end up hitting it in the artery in the hip, and like, what's going on here? I know that pin was just clear as can be, right on that kill zone where I wanted that arrow to go. So I go down to the range, and I normally close my left eye when I'm practicing because I'm working about developing the skills and stuff. So I nailed the 5 spot. I was shooting it, and I just nailed it, no problem. Next arrow, I shot at the upper right hand spot, both eyes open. I missed the target to the left. I completely missed the target. I'm off by that far at 20 yards. It's like, what's going on? So then I'm supposed, oh, my right eye is blurry. My mind says, ignore the blurry pins and pick up the bright pins.
That's right. Yep. That's 100% right. Right. Your brain is automatically doing all of that for you without you even realizing or understanding that's what's going on. So with my eyesight going bad, or not going bad, so with my eyesight being the way it is, I've learned that I had to I got a hat clip, to help disrupt that left eye.
Right.
But I have found that putting a shield on my sight housing has been better to still allow me to shoot with my both eyes open, but it just disrupts the left eye a little bit from taking over that shot.
Right.
So that's just what I've learned now. In a hunting scenario, I haven't had that yet, but um it's coming, because when you draw back and you put a disruption in the front of your dominant eye, your brain is automatically taken over and going, okay, what's what we're going to do,
Right.
so
Well, and I discovered something a little bit different on mine, because I always wear a baseball cap when I'm hunting, with the vest or the sweatshirt on, if it gets really cold, or the hood or whatever. And I turn my head, the hood doesn't move, but my head does. So now with the hood sitting here, I turn my head, it blocks my left eye.
oh,
So now I
interesting.
can only see with the right eye. So now I don't have to worry about finding at which pin, because otherwise I was going through one of those, blinking my left eye and making sure I'm on the right
Yes.
pins.
Yep. I see a lot of shooters will do that, squint that left eye and get that left eye there and whatnot, and if you're young, it probably isn't going to be that much of an issue or that big of a deal. But when you are, when you're starting to get some issues with your eyes, then your brain will just take over. It's just the way it is,
Right.
So
And with me, for most of my life, I've had double vision because, operation I had, and, I won't go into details on that, but, so I see two sets of pins, I have prisms in my glasses, so I can focus on one. But when I see two sets of pins, my mind developed the ability to ignore the set I didn't care about because they weren't as clear. My right eye was, better vision in my right eye than was in my left eye anyway. That's right eye dominant. So
okay.
that took care of it. And then the clarity switches.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Your mind doesn't switch. It doesn't know to not pick up the clear
Right.
pins.
Right. No, that can be a rodeo. I can see how a shot like that can be placed on a deer, in the ham.
Yeah, and that's why, the longer shots, I don't do longer shots anymore, just because it's too hard to see them.
Yeah.
With
I
it
get
being
that.
blurry anyway, and not as clear as it should be, even though the glasses, get, decent vision, but there's still a little bit of that blur when you get off at a distance. And I never really is very good at seeing off at a distance anyway.
Yeah.
When you're looking at 100, 200 yards, um, it's tough,
Yeah.
but nice thing about rifles with a scope is it doesn't matter.
True story. True story. That's what you get.
Yeah, it's like dominant or not, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Well, it's been great talking with you. I'm sure we're going to talk sometime here in the future again, and but let's get that app going, because that looks like it's a pretty good app, and I have it installed on my phone. I haven't really played with it too much, but I'm going to take a look a little bit more, and anybody knows a club, have them get a hold of you, and
Yeah.
Get that information in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely way you can help your club is letting them know about us, or letting us know about them. And I've got no problems reaching out and talking with folks. So yeah, just help me connect the dots, and we can get them on the map, and
Yeah.
maybe get some other people there shooting, and really help the clubs out, continue to grow and provide more targets, and better targets, and more events. And that's just how it works. So
Yeah, just grow the app.
cool. Well, I appreciate it, Roy. I really do appreciate you having me on. So
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I learned something. Like I say this all the time, I learned something on every podcast. And I just hope that the people watching and listening, they learn something as well. And if you learn something to take away, hey, put a comment in. We'd like to hear, what your thoughts are. Always comment. It always helps out, because hey, it's nice to know that it helps you out, or if you have a question, and ask them.
yeah, absolutely.
I always say the only dumb question is the one you don't ask.
Right. There's it's always no if you never ask. I mean, that's
Right.
that's something I've learned. And so you bet.
That's always the challenge sometimes, is when you get something new, it's like, I don't know enough to know what I don't know. So how do I know what to ask?
Sure.
And then after you get done, it's like, oh man, this is what I should have asked. But here, put a comment in. It's going to be there.
So then my last question, I guess, would be this will be available on like Spotify and links and stuff like that you'll have, and so I can share it and whatnot.
Right.
Okay. All right.
That'll be on Spotify. It'll also be on my YouTube channel and
Okay.
in the group. And what I do for people with businesses, I will crazy spammers. What I do for businesses is you can access to the video to use in your marketing as well. So, any businesses out there, hey, this is available for you to use however you want. You can separate sections out and put your little TikToks out or whatever you want to do. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. My name is Roy Canterbury, and I've been your host today on Archery Talk 101 with Jeremy Fisher and the Toxon App, which has been a whole lot of fun talking about. And we'll see you in the next podcast. Stay tuned. Podcasts come out twice a week and go from there. Thanks for listening, everybody.